talk about bots and arenas.
Ojo
Well,
ahí.
but, you know, this is where I would apply my codings, for example. Some of these codings.
Ojo,
I'm
hay
gonna
dos casos
earn.
que
We
se
saw the
parecen
Keystone
la
coding
misma
as a
pinche
challenge reward,
cosa.
for example. So this is just a taste of
Gente
kind of
saquen
what
clip.
I'll be able to do. I can't wait to see how players in the tech preview. I would
Saquen
hope a lot of
clip.
people are probably going to easily hit tier 20 and max out.
Yeah,
You know, if not,
that's our hope.
what are you doing? You've had this long to
No
prepare.
mames que los
like,
colores
come
no
on,
vamos a
we've
poder
waited for this.
escoger.
We need
Should
you.
just be good.
Nope.
Go crazy. But yes, this is just to give you an idea. As I unlock my content for the core, this is where I'm going to go in and be able to customize that.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this to you the other day, but funny fact, someone pointed out to me that
Quiero ver el
if
casco
you want
scout, a
to,
ver
I
aquí
think for
cómo
the first
está.
time in a Halo game, you can
¿El
have
qué?
no shoulder pads, which
Correct.
El
you know,
scout.
hey, if that's your fancy, go
Mi
for it.
casco, pues.
So lots of different options here, and
Yeah, and this is like, you're not seeing things in here like armor effects or other categories that we have listed here.
Ah, ese tiene el brazo
For the
biónico,
tech
¿ya viste?
preview, it's really small,
Hey.
and so we tried to keep it
Ni habías
basically
visto.
the baseline.
No, güey, no
pieces.
vi.
Actually, let's talk about armor kit for a little bit. That's
yeah,
a
what is
brand new
because
concept.
just I don't think.
Mira,
this is
güey, también
really
tiene las patas
so fully
biónicas.
supported in this build,
No
but
mames,
yeah.
esas
so when
patas
we
le hicieron
talk
pedazos en la
about,
guerra del cobre.
specifically from a pillar perspective of continuing the story, the armor kit kind of represents
Como
a bunch
Texas,
of
güey,
that
pero
story.
con
And so
una
when you see
armadura.
the season, and when we say story,
Más, güey, Texas
we mean
hubiera
the
sido un
continuing
Spartan.
story of the universe
Con
from
partes
after
biónicas.
you, when you're in
¿Y sabes
campaign
quién es
as
Texas?
Master Chief.
Pues,
What are the rest of the
allá donde
Spartans?
anda Chane,
You
güey.
are a Spartan, and so
No.
your story.
Un güey de
belongs to
aquí
Sí,
your
güey, el de silla de
pero
ruedas,
no,
¿no?
a place in which you can show
Sí.
iconic
Siempre andaba bien moneado.
characters within the Halo universe. And so a kit, for example, you might get, I don't know, George or Emil, and that is an entire kit unto itself. And so you want to, like,
Siempre
you
gritaba.
actually want to go fly the,
Voy por la banqueta,
do
pinche
your battles on the
perro.
battlefield like George, that's where you would go to get that kit.
Well, Jerry, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
I think there's still a ton of fun content in here for insiders this weekend to experiment with, unlock, explore. I do want to just reiterate as well, we've said this prior, but you know, this is just a test, so nothing that people buy or unlock during this will carry over to the final game. We're going to wipe the slate clean. And as Jerry noted, you know, just we're looking for your feedback. We'll have information on Waypoint, by the way, as well as in your flight invitation that lets you
Vamos
know where to
tarde,
go
pero
and how to give that
temprano.
feedback. You know, the team wanted me to also just give a shout out and let people know that a lot of polish work is still happening. So, you know, everything from how things look and are presented, we're not done yet. So, you know, I want to make sure we're giving credit to all the hard work that's still being done. and
Rifen
will
la
continue
gorra.
until launch this holiday.
Como la
Jerry,
mía.
any final parting thoughts or words you want to leave to us before we jump over
Nomás déjame la
and bring Tom in?
No, I mean, enjoy your time. And, you know, as you said, Sketch, like, this is few months
De veras,
old.
debe tomar foto de este
And we
momento.
have a long way to go from where we're at actually today and what you're seeing. But please go test every button, like play everything so that we can make sure that we have the tech ready for you when we launch.
Awesome. Well, cool. Thanks again, Jerry.
Absolutely.
Happy to have you here. We're going to take in one more quick break. We're going to bring in Tom French and the multiplayer team. We're going to talk about some bots. We're going to jump in, do a weapon drill or two, and talk about the Academy. And then we'll take a look at a match that we recorded on Xbox Series X. We'll be back in just a moment.
A ver.
Day is upon us. A new
A ver.
generation built to fight. Together,
Es el mismo, ¿no?
Eh, Vas a creer que nomás estoy escuchando qué está pasando, pero no veo lo que está saliendo. Ah, ya. Se había retrasado.
Es el mismo
Le da
de
feo.
el trailer del primero, güey.
¿Ya estamos transmitiendo?
Ya.
¿Por qué no me salió que activara mi chat de voz?
Yo creo que no aparece, güey.
Pero sí se me escucho.
Sí. Putos cohetes.
Cohetes, y es un güey ahí en la esquina ya todo tirado.
No, güey, son cohetes.
Hello, let's do some damage. Skewer acquired.
Puro cohete bravo.
El pana Rabbit.
Enemy flag. Return it to base. Ordnance drop inbound.
Ojo. Ojo.
Ojo ahí. Ese tráiler con un corrido de fondo.
¿Hacen corrido con babo?
¿Cómo no? ¿Cómo no se me ocurrió antes?
Now, show me what you can do.
Ahora, güey.
Okay, welcome back again after that brief break. This is still our Halo Infinite Tech Preview live stream here from Redmond, Washington. I'm Sketch. And now I want to welcome Tom French. Tom, welcome, Associate Creative Director for Multiplayer. How are you?
It's wonderful to be in this room again. I've
What?
missed being in this space, so it's good to kind of just hang out. I kind of want to give you a big hug.
I know, right?
It's wonderful.
It's the closest, this whole process, I haven't come this close to human beings in a long time,
Yeah,
it
it's a
feels
little
like.
weird. It's a little weird.
Well, it's good to have you here. I
Thanks,
feel like
sir.
this is,
Ah, es el
I
güey
mean,
que
this has
hace
literally
los
been years in the
sonidos.
making, safe to say.
Yes, that is very safe to say.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit
Peinado
about
de gallo.
multiplayer, which is obviously sort of the key focus for the tech
Peinado de gallo.
preview.
Oh.
So much like I've talked to Sam and Jerry about, thought we might
¿De qué
do
es su
something else to
playera,
kind
güey?
of
¿De
give you a
Río o
chance
qué?
to, from your perspective and your team,
¿Sabe?
how are you thinking about the tech preview? Kind of what are your goals?
donde
What
el
would you
avión
like our
pinches
audience to know
No
from
sé,
your
güey.
side of things?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jerry and Sam kind of hit a lot of it on the head.
¿No sabes
Like,
quién es
it's-
Río,
the
güey?
focus isn't about like kind of fair, balanced
No.
arena starts. It's really about a tech
Le
preview.
Death
We
Note?
need to get a lot of data. There's a lot of PC data we need to do now that we're not like just
No,
single
¿qué
console
chingos es
focus.
eso,
There's a
güey?
lot of information we need to really strengthen up our back
¿Un
end before we
Shinigami?
launch this game. It's really just make sure everything is strong for the fans when we go
Pues
live.
igual, güey, me
Yeah,
quedé
A lot of
igual.
work obviously still happening.
Es
We've
que
got
no has
to
visto
cover
Death
that. Now,
Note.
You know, I
No.
think we've got a couple, I think safe to say we have sort of two
Estoy harto.
signature content sort of buckets, features, if you will, of this tech preview, right? We've got an Academy experience, which I think we're going to talk about here first, and then we're going to move on to bots from that. So let's start by the Academy. We teased this a little bit. I think folks learned about it for the first time in our overview video last month. So from your perspective, you know, what's the Academy all about? Where did it come from? What's the idea behind it?
I'm really proud of the Academy concept. Wake, when we started the journey to, what was going to become Halo Infinite, we needed, I don't know if you know this, but when you go to play multiplayer, it's intimidating to a lot of people. And so we needed to kind of create a ramp for how players get there and kind of smooth that out along the way. And so we thought about, like, what are the obstacles that players have to do? And so the Academy is broken into, like, 3 core parts and then kind of a 4th extension to that. But the first part is a tutorial where we teach you the fundamentals of the game. We'll introduce you to the kind of the canon around the MP Spartan and what is the player Spartan's purpose in the greater universe. And then the next step after that, we have weapon drills, which we'll get to play with and talk about today, which is cool. And those are really about kind of just giving you a chance to put your hands on a gun in very simple settings, really just kind of mono-focused, right? And just really focus on how that gun performs and learn. And there's different skill levels, which we'll get to see a little bit. And then the third part is the what we call the training mode, which lets you play arena matches, basically, or arena slayer inside of all of our arena maps. And lets you run around and you can configure the difficulty of the bots, you can configure your loadouts, you can configure, I don't know, there's just a bunch of tuning knobs to let you really kind of soften the experience. And then the next step I would say beyond that is once you kind of get comfortable in there is we have 4v bot matches. So we have 4 players. Halo's a team-centric game. And so we want players to learn how to play together kind of first and foremost, and you do that against bots before they kind of start getting headshots across the map.
Well, you mentioned weapon drills, which is the sort of the slice of the Academy that we're including in the tech preview today. I think we should jump into a weapon drill or two. I'm sure our viewers would love to check that out firsthand. I mean, Tom, if you're willing, I maybe put you on the spot here. I mean,
You can see how much I suck
I can
with
embarrass
a bunch of the
myself.
guns.
I mean, you know what?
Why don't we trade off?
Why don't we each do it,
All
right?
right.
So I'm happy to go first, Josh. If you want to jump back over to my POV here, I've already kind of jumped into the Academy menu. I'm presented with an option for weapon drills. You know, I did want to point out this is not the entirety of our sandbox,
No,
right? This
it's
is
what's in the flight,
it's a
basically.
slice, right? So I would expect more weapon drills. So, you know, I think. I don't know like what fans would be
No
most
lo sé,
interested in
Rick.
seeing. I'm gonna
Parece
guess they
falso.
probably
Hola,
don't
hola,
need
que las armas ya tienen ahí
right? So let's do
dibujitos,
something a
porque
little
me
more
perdí.
exotic. Now, This is I might do this because this is one of my personal favorite new additions to the game.
Sure.
This thing is a beast.
It is a beast.
It sounds awesome. It feels awesome. And real quick, Tom, how would you want viewers to understand? Sort of, I got 3 options here for my weapon drill.
So there's 3 tiers of weapon drills, and the basic one is static bots, and they'll just stand there, kind of just let you get the hands on the gun, right? Shoot the basic targets, and it'll score you on your performance and kind of give you a grade so you understand how well you're using with that gun. The next tier, they're kind of on more just like kind of simple paths or crouching behind cover and things like that to kind of show you how to use the weapon, get you to move to that next tier of how do you track a target across the screen. And then the third tier is more, they actually are doing combat behaviors. They're not firing back at you, but they're running around and they're ducking and they're a lot less predictable. And so they're kind of harder to track. They're kind of using more of the actual bot behaviors and mentality. So
I guess I'll split the difference and go, I'll go like a tier 2 here, right?
Okay.
I mean, don't judge.
let's see how you score.
Don't judge.
Right.
There's a lot of pressure here. And I mean, safe to say there's been a lot of internal trash talking as well, right?
Yeah, we trash talk a lot, especially about scores. Like, I mean, you know, we're a competitive team at our core, so that's what you have to do.
You know, and speaking of too, I think there is a cool. Not only is this a learning module in a lot of ways, but there is a competitive angle to it. And you know, I think safe to say down the road, the team's thinking about possibility of things like leaderboards and kind of how do we really bring that gamification competitive element to this.
Yeah, that was something that we really wanted in the core design, and just it just didn't fit into the schedule. So we're just building this kind of as a platform for how we can add more over time.
Okay, here we go. Not doing good. By the way, that's something our fans noticed right there. We have damage per sort of location-specific visual indicators on damage, right?
Yeah, it's actually.
Ojo, Skull, ojo, Skull.
Ojo, güey, puro bot.
Look at that. I choked right there. Now, are you a feather the trigger person with this weapon, or do you just sort of pray and spray?
I'll just be honest, I'm hot garbage with this gun.
Y eso es lo que vamos a jugar mañana.
I'm trying to get better
Easy,
with it.
¿qué onda? ¿Cómo
I
andamos?
kind of use it as like an automatic, but when I'm kind of at range,
Nice.
kind of the feather
Easy,
one.
güey, con D el último.
That was not a great
It wasn't
performance.
terrible.
2-star. I mean,
Terrible.
Mejor
I
pónganse
think there is a
papita o algo
bonus for
así.
like a
Más
quick
fácil.
action, right?
Yeah.
Like if I were to quickly zoom in on the target,
Chetos
right, when it appears
bolitas,
to me, I might get an extra.
I think
hit.
Chetos
we're gonna put a little bonus points on those clicks around it. So
All right, I want to put you
Chetos
on the spot
voltearon
now.
una
I want
hora.
to switch over to your point of view. So so first of all, okay,
Alright.
going for the
Should go
controller,
ahead.
right? Because we
Should probably pick
support
that up.
mouse and keyboard or controller, doesn't
I'm
matter.
a controller guy.
Whatever suits your fancy. Tom, I am hearing from our friends over here in the room that it sounds like chat is unsurprisingly very interested in seeing the BR.
I think that's expected. Let's bring up the BR then. Let's see how. I mean,
Ahora,
I'm
güey.
okay
I
with
do
this.
like
Ahora,
that you're
güey.
going with the more exotic weapons, though. So maybe we just kind of break the rules and squeeze in a third game.
We'll squeeze
Ojo.
in another
Okay.
one. I'll
How
try
about
to
you?
go the third tier so people can see kind of the different behaviors. And so you see there were kind of more bouncing targets in what you were doing. So you'll see this. They should take a little more cover and stuff. But yeah, obviously a fan favorite weapon. I'm really nervous how well I'm going to score. Let's see.
Well, at least we're picking different weapons, so we're not really like we can't really compare each other against each other, right? So
Yeah, people are already making fun of me in the stream. I can see it. Or imagine at least. I'm really terrible about managing my reloads. I'm like an incessant reloader.
Yep.
See there,
What a
I
week.
probably shouldn't have reloaded right there.
well, it's when we're missing shots like you and I do, it makes it a little hard to be predictable on that reload.
I know.
too,
I
right?
really feel like it's part of my job to get better at
Así
this, and
vamos a
I'm
estar,
trying,
así vamos a estar,
and I
Sí,
am
güey.
getting better. I'm a little more better at like BTB is kind of my bread.
No te muevas, hijo de tu puta
You
madre.
can see they're kind of dancing around a little bit. They're strafing there. They're not just bouncing.
Güey, por eso se le pone un pip. Pónselo.
Yeah,
Oh,
you almost got this.
no quiero.
Time's up.
Ah, pues ahí te
That's
va
a
el
pretty
ban.
good score. Well, it's a new high score compared to whoever
Se
else.
hacen rojos, güey.
Ain't nobody. So all right.
Yeah.
So I hit that's tier
Pero
two.
es que es el entrenamiento y ya en el
So, yeah, so you
multijugador
can
se
see,
ve
like, we're
amarillo.
trying to kind of give you some grading so you can
Pura
understand
ciencia.
skill level and like how you can get better, or a little bit like kind of encouraging to get better, so you can understand where you're meeting.
All right, I think we're getting the request. Let's maybe like at least one more. You want to play one more since you're already in? Why don't you do
I mean,
it? I'll put you on the
okay,
spot.
I'll do it.
So I'm hearing that there's a lot of interest in the heat wave. This
All
is
right.
I don't think we've really seen it shown this mode to date. So
No,
it's
es la esa
obviously
madre
new
que
and
te
exciting.
desintegra.
A
que sale
little
en
bit
el tráiler.
unconventional, right? A little bit different.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, it has an alt fire, which is cool. It's something that's kind of new to Halo. I know Quinn and his team was really
No,
proud of
le va a
that.
tirar con esa
and
mamada
kind of
a
how
los
do we
bots.
introducing this kind of concept into the
A
game?
ver.
And how can we use this kind of more in the game?
Vamos a ver
This
cómo los
weapon's
hace-
really fun. And the two alt modes, or the two modes, are basically vertical and horizontal fire.
Cómo los hace cac.
Um,
Pip.
I can't
Gada.
remember how this drill performs. So see, one of the things cool about the drills
Parece como de
is a lot of
discos,
they're
güey,
trying to
esa.
do behaviors that actually encourage you to use the weapon correctly. So like these two were bouncing near each
¿Sí lo
other.
lanzas
and
sin
you
línea,
can get a more optimal like kind of horizontal.
No
shot.
llegué a ninguno, güey.
Yeah, no,
Ah,
se cuenta
la puedes
como la de
voltear.
esta-
there, but I think you're using your left trigger to sort of
Oh,
swap
sí,
between those two
Yeah,
different
the two
firing
modes.
modes.
Como la de
Yeah.
Dead Space.
All right, get together, boys. Thank
Oh,
you.
and this will
No,
penetrate,
pues
right?
hace
So you
cuenta
can
como
line
la
guys
de
up and just take them all.
Ah,
Very
the
cool.
Last shot sucked. There we go. Oh,
La escopeta no los lanza aplastados, güey.
I'm
It's-
definitely
No,
not
pero
managing my
pues igual,
reload.
güey.
I feel like I have
Rebota,
more time in the
rebota.
game, right? Like when you're in a match, like hide
Bájale
behind
los
cover. But this is
audífonos.
definitely that like kind of stressful, which is in a good way.
Pero según
like,
yo la
it
puedes
helps
dejar
you get
presionada,
better
¿no? Para que
by,
cargue
you know,
más
going through the repetition.
madrazos
Yo
o no.
pienso que sí.
Well, the world watching doesn't probably help.
Yeah, it
either.
doesn't help. I think I'm more nervous about you just giving me shit after. Oops.
We're
Pues no
fine.
me agradó mucho.
That's all right. We
Se
ran
veía
the
más
SRB
rota en el
up
trailer.
front. We're good.
Oh, that's
We're
good.
good. We said it.
I
Make
can't help it. I'm.
content
Mata
may not be
nadie,
suitable
güey.
for all audiences. Look at you, man.
Estás
You're
Alex.
dragging
No,
us
vale.
here.
No,
Tech
vale.
star, you're a master. So
Maybe
that's
we
the
haven't
heat
seen
wave.
those scores yet, so maybe
We're not
we
going to
can
go
compare.
through every
Jeje, no
weapon
les di a
drill,
los
but,
bots,
you know,
jeje.
when the tech build goes out tomorrow, the weapon drills will be available right away. So you folks
Yeah.
that are in the flight can play to their heart's content all weekend long. We encourage you to do that, and I want to see people kind of see if you can beat Tom's score. There you go. Let's throw the gauntlet out.
Yeah,
See-
please. I mean, please beat my score. If you don't, I'll be disappointed. So.
So, Tom,
si ves
obviously,
como-
you know, we
con
talk a little
puro
bit
control,
about
güey,
bots
¿no?
as
Con
it
el
relates to
mouse y el
the
teclado.
Academy experience that we just saw here, but bots is kind of the other signature experience as
Mañana
part
se
of the tech
prueba el
preview. So,
teclado.
before we get into the specifics, bots are brand new to Halo. Like, what do you want the world to know about bots? What's cool about them? Why are you excited about them?
I'm really excited about bots because, again, like, playing multiplayer in Halo is a scary thing, and so it gives players like we have this kind of notion of safe and being able to play safe and offline in the training mode and things like that. And so having bots to really reflect kind of player behaviors is a big goal of ours. And so actually our bots don't cheat. I'm really proud of the work our bots team has done. They really are emulating player behaviors. They're doing things like watching the motion tracker. They're listening for footsteps. They'll like pre-nade an area as you get into the better bots and things like that. So they actually are kind of reflecting player behaviors back into the game for you to even, if you're a learning player, you can kind of, oh, it did that. That's something I can learn as a tool. But again, really just giving players safe place to experiment and learn and warm up. Like we found out, you know, the community was like, when we first started talking about it, they're like, oh, I can warm up before a match and stuff like that. And that was absolutely part of the intent. And we see we do it actually internally, or watching our pro team do it as well. So.
Yeah, they're no slouches either. I can say. I mean, let's talk about that for a minute. We know we've mentioned this a little bit in our blog last week, but you know, my understanding is we want to kind of ease people into the experience this weekend, so they'll be able to jump online. And I think sort of it's our second lowest skill level bots to start with, right?
Yeah, we have in the game we'll have 4 different tiers of bots. There's recruit, and then there's marine, there's ODST and Spartan. And like we're gonna start with the marine level, which is basically kind of like a silver level player, and then we have the ODST, which are more like a gold, and then
Spartan.
the Spartan is I'm losing my words right now. But they are obviously the higher difficulty level. But we're trying to get like really just they're the plat level player. Duh, I don't know why I'm thinking that. But yeah, so we're trying to just really kind of ramp it up. We want to let players
Ese
learn
de la
play against
camisa,
different
ese de
bots so we
manos de
can see
tijera,
the
güey.
different kind of how players perform against them. We know they're not, they're not gonna like they're not shotsy.
ya
They're
tiene
not gonna
sentido
like
todo.
dong on you like immediately, even when we get to our highest level. They really are a warm up and a
Hasta
learning
ahorita
tool
lo
kind
vi.
of thing.
Yeah, and I think, you know, my understanding is too that we want to get focused testing and data and sort of feedback on each of those sort of bot,
Como hermanos de
the
pito.
bot sort of skill levels. So if, for example, we get enough engagement and the collective community slays enough bots after we go live on Thursday, my understanding is, okay, cool, you guys are past phase 1 now, right? So then we're going to kick off and escalate and sort of raise the difficulty up and introduce the ODST bots. So our hope and expectation is that everyone out there is playing so much, we're getting all the data that we need, and we're just going to keep ratcheting it up with the goal of, let's hope by Sunday we've got Spartan bots out there, and we'll really see how some players can psych up to that. And I believe we're also going to kind of gradually introduce maps in a similar fashion. So the big message there, I think, for tech preview participants is we need you to play a lot and come back every day, because we're going to try to keep that experience evolving and keep it fresh. I also wanted to shout out
se
that we're
encontró
going to be
un
keeping an eye
casco
on
de
our
Master
stats
Chief
in
en
the
la
back
basura. ¿Te lo puedes
and looking to
creer?
do a little celebratory shout outs on the Halo
Y
Twitter
nosotros nos
account.
encontramos
So each
un
day
peso
we're going to
en
be
la
looking
calle.
for which player has played the most bots, who's won the most
A mí
games,
nomás me cagan los
and also I
pichones.
think kind of interesting, which team has been able to get
No
50
mames,
slays and
pichón.
win their game against bots the fastest?
Ah,
What's really
nunca
cool
te
and a
caga un
twist here,
pichón, güey.
we're going to track all that.
No,
we shout
güey.
you out on our social channels, but
Los que
when this game
cagan
launches
en
this
los ranchos,
holiday,
güey, las
we're going to
vacas.
capture your gamer
Las
tags now
vacas.
and be able to grant. You'll be the first ever
Una vaca
recipients of
volando ahí.
one of our sort of exclusive emblems, nameplates rather, for the Fire Unicorn, which has been sort of something that we've had throughout Halo 5, a little bit in MCC as well. So pretty cool. We're able to kind of start that muscle now a little bit.
Yeah.
So bragging rights, high stakes, slay a lot of bots, play a lot, but don't slouch because these bots mean business, especially by the time we get to Sunday. So Tom, the last thing I kind of wanted to switch into as well, speaking of evolving the experience, we're
Oye,
thinking
bro, que
about
hablan, pero
possibly
el audio
turning
no
on
concuerda
some
con-
classic Slayer
conforme
arena
mueven la
videos as
boca.
well at the end of the weekend, correct?
Yeah, so I mean, I think the intent is
Está
we're gonna
mal
start with
eso.
live fire with the map, which is one of our arena maps, and then we'll go into recharge, or we'll add recharge, and then we'll add Mombasa, or not Mombasa, Bazaar, which is set in Mombasa. Actually, I really want people, especially our fans, to really look around the map.
Actualízalo.
There's some kind of nerdy lore things in there that are super cool.
Me dieron lo que
But yeah,
carga
and
mejor.
at the end,
Sigo viendo esta
the
madre
intent
con
is at the
sus
very end, we'll we can unlock basically a chance to play some 4v4. There's a bug in there right now where sometimes you won't match at 4v4. You can get a 3v4 match. We should backfill somebody into that match, hopefully, generally within a minute or so. It depends on obviously matchmaking and population times at that point. But yeah, so it should balance out. Again, it's not going to give you that full fair, like core competitive Halo start, but it will give players at least a first chance at like hands on stick to kind of put sights on another player.
For sure, and I just kind of wanted to reemphasize, like our number one priority is the bot experience.
Mira,
and
ahorita
it's
tuviera
getting
aquí
all the data that
traduciendo,
involves.
me va
I
a
don't think we
porque
mentioned this, but
Sí,
even just from a
dijo,
dedicated server
mamón.
perspective, a bot match kind of taxes the servers and uses resources differently than a traditional PvP match, right? So it is important to us that we load test that.
Yeah, the bots are actually, they're running on the servers, and so they're actually putting weight on the servers. And then it literally, because it's 4v4, 4 players versus
Hay
4
que hacer
bots,
otro cuestionario.
you're going to
Okay.
spin up twice as many servers, and so kind of
Pues eso
testing
del Halo.
scale and
No.
stuff like that at that
So
time as well.
as long as we hit these gates and sort of checkpoints over the course of each day, we could
Yo
have
estoy viendo que
quite
sí.
a bit of
¿Dónde?
fun here at the end of Sunday night. But I did want to reiterate what Tom pointed out. We are aware the experience does
Deja
have
ver si
some
en el
rough
Master,
edges.
en el Halo
But
Waypoint.
as long as
El
you're willing to
waypoint.
sort of put up with that, we'd love to jump in and be able to have that fun with you as well. So, Tom, I think the last thing that we're going to jump into here in a minute is our. We have one more gameplay footage. We have a full match we recorded. Before we do that, though, I have a couple other things I think I just want to rattle off. One, split screen comes up a lot. It's a big part of the Halo multiplayer experience. I did just want to call out that is not supported in the tech preview. It is still something that is important to multiplayer for launch, obviously, but in the tech preview, will not be supported. So I think honestly, I believe you could even split screen in with your buddy on your couch, but then you can't load into the playlist together. So I just wanted to call that out in case folks get stuck in that situation. Something else that I just thought while you're here we could just chat about, I could ask you. Folks started asking this question as we showed off some of our MP content last month, and they're obviously going to sort of get the experience firsthand starting tomorrow, and that's about assassinations. We saw a couple moments in the trailer where we saw
Ni
some
tampoco.
Está
backstabs
saturada, yo
that
creo.
probably would have been an
Yo creo que sí.
assassination. So folks have asked us, are they in? Are they out? What's going on with assassinations? So what's the scoop there?
Pues
So
salte,
they're
güey,
not
para que me deje a
in
mí.
and I think we're just gonna be straight about that, right? Like we actually really love assassinations, and I remember being at an HCS tournament with Quinn Del Hoyo, our sandbox lead, right when I took my gig, and we were watching a match, and somebody went to backsmack somebody, and they had assassinations enabled on accident because they turned them off, right? And they got this amazing assassination. It was a super hype moment in the crowd. But what happens at a lot of levels is people just turn them off because there's a gameplay disadvantage of it. And so one of the things we really wanted to do is take a step back and how do we think about how do these fit into infinite gameplay loops? And so one of the things that Quinn and I keep talking about is like when we bring them back, we want them to be back and fit right into our sandbox and the loops of the game and bring them back in a way that really just feels meaningful, so they're always an accessible tool, but also kind of a flourish moment that people have.
Yeah, so we talk about this a lot. Launch is only the beginning. Jerry alluded to kind of what it means to be a live service and those opportunities that it brings. This is a perfect example of something that I know is already on the team's radar, and I can't wait to. It's something to look forward to, and I can't wait to see how bots evolve and eventually, assassinations
Well,
evolve.
bots will
Evolve too, right? No, you're right. Getting assassinated by a recruit bot would be I think you have to resign at that point if that were to
I
happen.
think we
right?
delete your profile at that point.
So I think one more thing we want to show today. I know people have still been clamoring for we just want to see a full match. Just show us a match end to
yo
end.
quiero
So
un
we
mouse
have that
porque
here
no,
today.
güey.
We're going to do that right now.
Lo que
This
te
is
estoy
gonna
diciendo,
take us
güey,
off.
no
I
pones
believe this was
Sí, güey.
recorded last week or so. This is Xbox Series X gameplay, just
Pero que
directly
sea de
out of
Halo
the
Infinite, ¿sí
console.
o no?
These are not bots in play.
pues sí.
This is a 4v4 Slayer.
Y que
¿Quién
sea
quiere
grande,
Halo
grande,
Ranch?
grande.
I think a few members of our pro team mixed in with a couple members
Me
of the
gustan
studio
grandes.
at large.
Me
You know, kind of to your
gustan
point,
gordas.
right now for this focus, this is not, we're not trying to sort of say telegraph this is the competitive side of our game.
Exactly.
So this is about social, it's about fun, it's about learning and kind of evolving. So no one should read too much into that, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is not your, you know, your BR star. It's really curated level. This is kind of more the what like we call internally like our pub experience or our non-ranked experience. So this is more of the quick play option that people will be seeing.
Well, let's roll that, Josh, if you got it ready. And, you know, Tom, if you want to we can kind of provide some commentary
Okay.
along the way. We're not going to try to cast this or anything. I'm sure folks are just eager to soak it in.
I
But
get Bravo to yell at me later if I did
it's
that.
about 7 to 8 minutes, I think, end to end. But this is a full match of 4v4 Slayer, Halo Infinite, in our tech preview, essentially a
Fue ese
version of
pinche
this
control
build.
del que trae ese vato de la
on
gorra,
Wi-Fi.
parece
So
que está
Josh, go ahead and
conectado
roll
al
that when you're
este,
ready.
Play them all, Spartan.
All right, yeah, I think
teclado.
this is a pro team POV.
Ah, sí,
Well,
cierto.
let's see how
mira.
good they are.
Pero, güey, ¿qué
Right
pasó?
off the bat, going for
So
the
he's
heat
got the
wave.
heat wave, right?
Yep.
So he has
Ahora,
to switch
güey.
to vert.
A ver. Skull, esto es gameplay.
There's a
Steitzer.
Stites. It's
Tírale,
good to have
güey.
Stites back there. We call
Eso.
there's some.
Esos son
nicknames.
bots.
Stitesy is kind of the
No, pues
people were
están
commenting in the video.
pendejísimos.
They threw down a shield, covered the position.
Yeah, I like that little peek technique. I haven't personally done that, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like I
So
learned
what-
a lot by watching this pro team video actually and how to play it. Like we watch
Pues-
them, we have.
Así me llevan ayer a mí,
so
güey.
I don't play with them generally because they
Estaba jugando
just,
ese
they're so
mapa.
good, and we put our kind of better players up against
No
them.
es cierto.
Sí, güey. Está ahí en el
Also
foro.
noticed that player went straight for the power weapon that
Ah, ya
spawns
sé
on
cuál.
this map in Slayer, which is
¡No! ¿Muerto por un bot?
hard for me to use.
Ah, el bot hizo T-Bag.
You'll see,
no
like,
te
I
voy a
mean, you can see
perdonar,
the
güey.
friend foe. That's one of the obvious things you're looking at
¿No hay
here. Sam
propulsor,
talked
güey?
about it earlier. This is something that we've continued to
No.
kind of iterate and evolve,
No,
even beyond this
hombre.
build. I think all this might
No, güey, no hay.
Ah, sí, se
Power
puede
weapons
agachar uno.
there.
Vaya, sí, no.
Skewer is
Tiene el Halo,
it's
en
satisfying
ese
as
en
heck,
el que estamos
but
jugando en el...
it's hard for me to use.
I am
¿Cuál es?
I am
No se podía uno
worse
resbalar
at
así.
Sí se
that
puede
than
agachar,
hand
¿cómo
rifle,
no?
for
No,
sure.
pero
When you
resbalar.
hit a target, like
Ah,
especially vehicle,
no.
it's super satisfying.
Pero sí, agacharse para hacer T-Bag.
Spectating,
No, pues eso
As.
sí, eso sí. ¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué es eso?
Ya.
¿Qué es eso?
Para que nos pongan una putiza a los bots, es cool. Amá, yo no rifo en el
Try
Halo.
for it.
tried for it.
En el nuevo.
En el nuevo Halo. En el Halo 6,
Hard
hijo,
for us to
güey.
hear in studio, but
Sí,
I
yo sé.
believe there
Vámonos,
here's
pinche
personal
granadazo.
AI coming through.
Yeah, you're hearing. There's a few things. So there's the Spartan chatter that we had in Halo 5. that
Esa
we
madre
kind of
hace daño de
Battlefield.
lejos.
Gives a lot more
Ah, ya, sí.
reaction feedback.
Nos están
What we'll
matando
hear
los
this
bots.
personal
Rotísimo.
what we did with them is we replaced what was called Spartan Leader, our team leader.
Ojo, es cool
and
que
there
si
it's
son
just a
bots,
more personal
se
version
prende
of
en
it.
rojo
They have a lot
esa
of
madre.
personality,
¿Ah,
and so
sí?
it lets you kind of swap around and
Sí.
kind of customize that feedback. And they give you a
Creo.
lot of low level. They pulled the power
Todos son
up.
rojos, güey, todos son
Yeah, I was
bots.
just gonna mention, you know, that's a different a change,
Pues sí,
right? It
güey.
doesn't activate on pickup anymore. You
Al
can
chile
click
no
onto it.
Mira,
Yeah, we think that'll bring a lot in the long term. And
es que
allow us to
prenden
do
rojo
more
porque
things
son
with
del
power-ups
equipo
than kind of
rojo,
just
güey.
use traditional kind
Ah,
of quick stats
y
and
si eres
reflexes
azul
that
te
happen,
prende
like,
Mira que no ves.
the notion of power equipment in the game.
Oh,
güey,
Carlos.
no has prendido.
One thing that we won't see from as in this
Voltea,
point of view,
pendejo.
I really love the visual language that you and the team have introduced. It's very obvious when someone's pocketing a power
Como que
up
la
like
pistola
that.
está
You'll see
mejor,
a
güey.
glowing trail
Yeah, there's
behind
like a
them.
contrail behind them. Yeah, that was a big thing, is
Che
making
pistola
sure that we
fea.
telegraphed that information. That was, you know, making that switch. There was
Está bien
critical
recia.
lenses on making sure that there
Ya
was
sabiendo usar esa
visibility
madre, no
to
ocupas
it
otra
and
arma.
gameplay.
I mean, so now it's
A
sort
menos
of
si
that
eres
risk
channel.
reward, right? Do I hold this and wait for that
Ah,
final
sí, channel
push?
ocupas
Do
todas
I
las armas
burn
del-
it now so I don't lose
Todas las
it?
armas que
Yeah, you
exploten
make
y
a
un
lot of
sniper.
choices.
Necesito
that way.
una
Like, I
nuclear,
sometimes
güey.
will pocket it and I'm getting cocky and then I'll
Hello,
lose
ojo.
it, and I'll give like overshow. That was a dope.
Hoy,
I'll give the OS to the enemy, which is, you know,
hombre.
super risky at that point.
la brocheta. Esa madre se llama la
I've seen a
brocheta.
couple of little
Vámonos.
sort of, what do we call those? Tutorial tips popping up there, which
Yeah.
you can turn off in the
Yeah,
settings.
you
no,
can
no,
turn
no,
them
you
off, but
can-
on they're death tips is what we call them. But yeah, giving a little bit of feedback, you know, about the type of weapon that killed you or like how you can respond better to it.
I'm not sure at this point the pro team needs to know that, like, hey,
Yeah, exactly. Or, like,
Como
just
que mire que se
opt-out,
impulsó ahí, güey. Creo que sí hay
Make it
inglés,
or it
¿no?
makes you feel bad.
Nah.
People might
No.
feel.
Nah. ¡Sas!
I do love this map.
Queremos
Yeah, the pelicans flying
propulsores.
by. It's an homage to.
Mira, güey, si ves
Sergeant
que
Johnson.
se hace azul
Sergeant
este
Avery
güey.
Johnson, Academy of. So it's kind
no
of
vi.
cool just to kind of pay homage to
No
like,
puse
you know,
atención.
one of ours and everybody's favorite.
Ah, sí,
characters
cierto, se hace
from
azul,
Halo
es cool.
series.
By the way,
Estoy diciendo,
whoever this
güey,
player
que
is
dependiendo del
just
color.
Tienes
getting,
toda la razón.
getting active camo every spawn. I don't know what the other
Será.
team's up to right now.
Seems to
Camu.
be watching that call out. Yeah, the power ups we treat those like
Apréndete ese
like
mapa,
the
vato.
power weapons and stuff. They're up on a pad.
Ya la
They
aprendí,
have a
güey.
lot of
no me-
messaging and broadcasting about them, so you know.
Le voy a hacer como ese güey, irá, nomás voy a cambiar el
Yeah, I
camo
tell you that.
y ya de ahí no me
the
sacan.
AI calls it out as well. So there's a lot of
Como
information
un
just kind of
rebotón.
driving feedback. You get the stick there. You can see like there's the weapon pack
su
raz
máquina,
in the
sí,
levels as well.
Yo lo estoy viendo con un chingo de retraso.
Yeah, right
Yeah,
back
it's in
there
the background, right?
Yep.
What's cool about them is like, before you might run past where a weapon would spawn and then not realize that it's coming up in 2 seconds and it could change
no
your choice and like how you
man.
deal with it. Like when we
Eso
played
fue
test this
injusticia.
morning, I actually stopped at one point on a weapon rack because I was like, oh, it's like 2 seconds out. I might as well wait for it and switch out my pistol, which I think I'm just telling everybody that I'm really bad with a lot of the guns in our game.
Eso fue injusto, Rick. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Ya nos escucharon esos?
¿Qué? ¿No hay asesinatos?
No,
That was nice.
Debe de haber como perros, ¿no?
pues sí, pero pues
I
no
do
se
love the
hace
side
ni
here.
uno, güey.
It's really cool and like when somebody's really good with it,
Ojo.
it's
Ojo,
really
ojo
threatening
ahí.
because they can just feather that thing. super
Ah, double kill.
This player really
Apenas
likes
vas ahí.
like drop
Sí.
ball kind of.
fast. Yeah, covering it
technique,
close.
Como un
Yeah.
minuto de retraso, güey.
Like kind of locking down an entryway so they can watch.
Ojo
the
que
map.
si corres no se te recargan los escudos igual que en el
It's
5.
neat to watch how
No.
people use these, like all the different equipments in different ways.
¡Zas!
Well, hopefully a lot of players this weekend are going to be lighting us up on social, sharing clips with us, because I can't wait to see just some of the new creative ways that the community at large figures out how to use this new sandbox.
Yeah, and it's interesting too. Like, I mean, like the way we have our maps tuned, like in our main builds, is they have
Rifle
different
command.
and stuff on them, and because we don't have the entire sandbox in the flights, as we swap things out, so it's actually not even
A la vez, esa madre está
basically
rotísima.
map placement path that we would have in the released version of the game. But we, it just at least gives us something so we can get something.
Métanlo al
different
Warzone,
to
dijo
play
un
with.
güey. Ese bot está pendejísimo, mira.
Well, match is getting close. You can hear the music starting to kick up, kind of signifying the end of the match is coming.
I do
Nivel
love
bot
that.
extremo.
The multiplayer music.
¿Es
Very
un camo?
I'm really proud of the multiplayer music. There's
Mato el
a
camo.
cool story about how we got to basically getting the music in the game. But it really meets this tone. It's something I've really wanted since Halo 4. Was this kind of post-rock soundtrack to the multiplayer? Well, actually just a Halo, but it became one of my goals for multiplayer.
¿O qué?
Lo mató la granada, güey. La granada, güey.
Ah, sí, ya vi. Nomás te llevas de adelantado como unos 5 segundos.
Cinco.
Cool. Phil's got some drama.
It
Oh,
is.
they got
There
it.
we
Somebody
go.
else got it.
There we go.
Cool.
Yeah, that was actually me playing.
Oh,
That
was
my-
you? Nicely done.
Since we won.
Nicely done. I'm proud.
Hey, so I'm happy that we were able to show that today. Not only kind of our first time showing the game on Xbox Series X, but the community's just been
Yep,
show us
se
a full
acabó.
match end to end. So happy we're able to do that. You'll be able to see a lot more of that, obviously firsthand this weekend. And I think safe to say, once we get a little further down and we're ready to talk more about the competitive side and some of the ranked settings, we know people are probably eager to see. I would love to see a true 4v4 pro team match. So
That'd be brutal.
we'll bring that later. Tom, any kind of final words or parting thoughts you'd like to share before we wrap this up today?
I mean, mainly I'm just really excited to finally get to put this game in people's hands. And even though it's just a tech preview, you get to at least touch the game. You get to run around. You get to experiment with the sandbox. You get to help us, be part of our team in a way. And then, just help us kind of keep building towards the next flights as we get to launch.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. We're super excited. I'll be playing all weekend as well. We'll be online playing, watching. Just wanted to go through a couple quick things right after this broadcast is over. If you want to head to halowaypoint.com, we have an updated blog that'll go out that'll kind of recap the official play times that we recommend for the flight experience for people who are involved. You can take a close look at some of our known issues and just kind of get a better sense of what you can expect this weekend. Also, just wanted to mention that we're also going to be flighting our next version of Halo Waypoint. So on app and web, we call it Waypoint V Next here internally. That actually will be included in this tech preview. really cool work happening there to help really extend my in-game experience out beyond the game to web and app. You can sort of experiment with your customization, challenges. That functionality will be working during the flight. Encourage folks to check that out as well. And as a reminder, if you want to be a part of this and an opportunity to play future tech previews and flights of this nature, head to HaloInsider.com, sign up. Please make sure your profile is complete. That includes, we need you to verify your email, and we need you to make sure you pick which platform you want to flight on, one or both. And if it's PC, we also need you to upload a DX-to-AG file. All the information you need and all the steps are clearly outlined. Just go to HaloInsider.com. Because next time we're going to go bigger.
Este Halo Waypoint está saturadísimo.
Because we still have a couple of steps to go between
¿Cuántos
now
no
and
estarán
launch this
ahorita
holiday.
ingresando?
And lastly, just want to say thank you to everyone. Clearly, the community, we really appreciate your feedback, your passion through the years. We know you've been eagerly awaiting this moment as much as we have. The Insider Group in
Está más
particular,
saturado que cuando
is
me
part of
quería
our
inscribir
NCC
en la
project
uni.
to bring that game, update it, improve it, bring it over to PC. That wouldn't have happened without the Halo Insider feedback and fighting program. And we can't wait to bring that same passion and that same just devotion and desire to make the best game possible to Infinite. So I want to thank you in advance for your time this weekend, being a part of this tech preview. And that's all we got. So share us your clips online. Head to Halo Waypoint for more information. And we'll see you soon.
Más
Thanks for
información
watching.
en Halo Waypoint. The Waypoint. Ya se acabó. Acabó.
¿Ya se acabó?
Ya. ¿Y ahora qué procede?
Pues tratar de que cargue el puto Waypoint.
¿Me han mandado correo?
No. ¡Puto infinito! Pinche internet. Ah, no, pero sí es la página, ¿no?
Sí. A ver, Halo Waypoint. No autorizados.
Thank you for watching. ¿Vamos ya?
Ya. Valió esto. Pues ya es todo, güey. Y sí,
Ya es
anda
todo,
con-
güey.
¿Qué? Ya, espérate, güey. No, pues ya.
Ya fue, ya fue.
Ya fue, ya fue.
El Pana Rabbit tengo en el buscador.
Panarra. ¿Ojo?
Just the feeling of like being in a firefight and hearing the click of the gun, throwing it down, and
No deja
grabbing
entrar,
it off the
todavía.
wall.
My gunner's upside
No.
down and he's like laying in. I see kill assist, kill assist, kill assist.
Any pistol across any of the games.
Siento que de ahí vamos a descargar el
allows me
juego.
to feel the most like John Wick.
Fue que sí.
Menos la beta.
Remember how excited I was with like this big combat with vehicles going all over the place.
Halo means something different for everyone, right? I think that's what makes Halo great.
Martillo.
What is Halo multiplayer? And for me, it boils down to this tight arena style combat and big team battle, this wide open, vehicle infused kind of combat. We're taking that awesome legacy or classic Halo combat experience and modernizing it in ways that'll feel fresh to old players and really exciting to new players.
Ya
We're
me
going to give
encontrar,
you
güey,
great
me
ways to
encontrar, güey.
customize your Spartan,
Ya
really
me
make your
encontrar,
super soldier
Pues ya es
your
lo que tengo
own,
que hacer y salte
and we're
para que
kicking
me dejen.
off a journey,
Pues
an
no sé,
experience
güey.
that's going to evolve
Eso les
month
decía a
to
los güeyes de la
month,
uni.
season to season, year after year.
For me, working through this multiplayer of this game, and the toughest challenge I think was really about how do we
Está durando un
respect
chingo.
the legacy of what came before us, but still build something that feels new.
We've tried to bring all these elements of legacy and really inject them into Halo Infinite, not just like in a way where you kind of won't notice it, where you feel like, oh, they really designed this to be a celebration of previous Halo, as well as an iteration of where Halo can go next. The vision of Arena was all about a tight experience. It was all about being fair. It was all about earning everything on the map, earning everything, every kill you get.
Going back to like what is the core foundation of what made the great Halo multiplayer arena.
Estoy viendo otro
matches,
video,
right?
güey. Se
Halo
ve
is
que va a
really about
estar
fair and balanced starts.
chingón.
So everybody's on equal footing when they come off the rip.
Nice.
And then once they start running around, it's about scavenging. It's about finding new toys and kind of developing your playstyle as you run through the match.
What makes Halo feel like Halo? I feel like the answer to that question is the sandbox. Like the sandbox is Halo.
When we set out to look at Halo Infinite from a high level and the direction of what it is, there's lots of exciting things there because we really wanted to push what are the things that are true to Halo, but what are the things that fans haven't seen yet.
Y tiene que pasar el de los
Equipment is
cacahuates
bad, but equipment
ahorita,
is
güey.
kind of
Anunciando sus pinches
has
cacahuates.
a bigger voice. Than
No se escucha, güey.
No.
We ask questions to ourselves of if you could go after a power weapon to get a bunch of kills, would you do that, or could you go and get grapple to make sure that you swing yourself to the other side of a map to back cap a stronghold? We saw
Estoy viendo un video del Shadow,
not
pero
just
dice
skill
puras
expression, but
pendejadas.
tactics for
¿El
teams to
Shadow?
coordinate around.
Sí.
The exciting combinatory nature of this toy plus this toy and how those interact with objectives is
No, ya no
super
me dejo
amazing.
entrar, güey.
Looking at how the power-ups play, like your classic power-ups like the overshield and the active camouflage. For this title, what we're looking at, what we're excited for, is you pick that up and you choose when you activate it. It goes into your inventory. If you haven't used it and someone kills you in multiplayer, you
A veces
drop
va
it,
como ver ya hasta mañana, güey,
take
pero
it,
en la
use it for
noche.
yourself. That to me is very legacy, but we took the equipment side of it
Inicia
and
sesión
modernized
con tu
it.
cuenta de
When it
Xbox.
comes to the vehicles, we went in and decided to invest a lot in the systems.
Pues sí quiero,
When I
pero
take
pues no
damage, my
puedo.
Warthog, my wheels can get blown off, my hood can get blown off. There's different aspects of the vehicle that change how my vehicle handles now. And that's something that's brand new.
The other thing we added to that is like this doomsday mechanic. So when you hit this threshold, the vehicle catches fire, and it's very much you've got a certain amount of health or a certain amount of time, and you got to choose what you want to do with the last minutes of this vehicle.
We've got a
Pinche
cousin
Halo,
vehicle,
güey,
which is
no
the
me dejes
Razor
entrar.
The back has this like multi-storage
hasta que-
compartment that you can
Hola.
put a lot of stuff into. So if you want to put like detached turrets,
que nos
power
iba a
weapons,
dejar, güey.
fusion coils, objectives, and that is what really making the Razorback kick a lot of butt in MP and campaign.
The levels define pace for the game, how frantic it is, and they define that iconic fantasy for players as they're entering that match. What do they want to do? What type of experience are they hoping to have? What kind of combat, what kind of dance floor is there available to have that combat in?
Lo que me gustó fue el
For me,
gancho, güey,
ITV
para traer
is
un
all about
martillo o una espada.
experiencing the full extent of the sandbox
Ni se
of
vio,
Halo
sí.
in
No, pero
just one match.
aquí lo estoy viendo, güey.
The vehicles, the weapons, the equipment.
Pues ahí puedes traer lo que sea.
We really wanted to take that kind of
No,
concept,
pero
those
pues, te
feels
los
you
enganchas
had
y te vas con
playing,
ellos y les das un
playing the
martillazo,
previous
güey.
games, and just turn the volume up.
Sería
Vehicles are
épico.
no longer just spawning at bases anymore. We have Pelicans delivering them, and we have a commander in your ear telling you that Pelicans are going to be dropping off these vehicles.
Tank is inbound.
We have Halo 2 style Delta Halo mission weapon pods that fall from the sky to resupply the field.
That's where it makes it feel like a real battlefield, and it's very exciting.
This is not just more players, this is just this certain beautiful slice of sci-fi chaos.
Y mató a su compa. Lo atropelló.
The announcer is your big gameplay moments, your game modes, just like the way it was before. Personal AI is really a reflection and information for the player.
Designation button.
So if a player grabs the flag, your personal AI is going to tell you to, get that thing back to base and give you some like moment-to-moment updates.
Our team took the enemy flag.
What if we can let players choose their own AI and each one of those
Ok,
have
ahí,
different voices?
ahí a Hello
so that
Waypoint va a
players
llegar
can find the one that fits
el
their
código, güey.
personality and their
¿Oh, sí?
the best.
El código de descarga ya sea en Steam o en la bandeja de Xbox.
More important than for
va a
us,
estar en
it's
Steam.
really about becoming a Spartan. You are you inside of the Halo universe.
The body of customization content that we have on day one ensures that there will be millions of customization combinations for Spartans on the battlefield. That includes things like armor coatings, armor emblems, various armor effects, down to the individual armor pieces, your shoulders, your gloves, your knee pads, your helmet, your visor, your helmet attachments. Then you look at weapons, and we've got a whole slew of customization offerings there. Vehicles have a huge pool.
Ok, yo tengo que instalar el Xbox Insider Hub.
In the game. Players can do the same thing on HaloWaypoint.com as well as the Halo Waypoint app.
The player also customizes the Spartan soldier.
Deja prender el otro
We want the
entonces.
Spartan to represent the player as much as possible.
Me va a
They can
salir
change
poquito.
their body type and their voice, as well as choose prosthetics for the first time.
Coatings offer us a unique opportunity to craft some hyper-polished looks and let you express yourselves in ways you've never been able to before. So we're coming at this from a player-first mentality. So what that means is that there's no random loot in this. There's no loot boxes. It's very important to us that everyone understands exactly how they unlock customization content. And we have a variety of places where they can do that. First off is the Battle Pass.
The Halo Battle Pass will never be taken away from you. And what I mean by that is once you buy it, it's yours.
A ver. Pues nos vamos, gente. Mañana los espero allá en... jugando la beta allá en la plataforma otra. Y ahí nos vemos para ver qué tal, a ver si ahorita me deja entrar al Halo Waypoint y ver el código, a ver qué es lo que procede. Porque no me está dejando entrar. Ha de estar muy saturada la página. Sale, gente, nos vemos.